So, why public school is not for individuals, even smart ones. An interesting thing happened to me today in my trade class. I was talking to a kid during what is called a warm-up. A lot of teachers use it nowadays. And what it is that you work with for like the couple minutes before the bell, and then you work after for a few minutes. So that's basically what we're supposed to be doing. But instead, we were talking about something like, he said, I kind of think that you're an asshole whenever you're in class, talking to me. And this was a student. He said, I kind of think that you just ask too many questions, and I don't think the teacher likes you because of that. He doesn't like, the kind of the way that you're going about it. You just kind of seem like an asshole. I thought, okay, I'm not picking up on that. I'm not trying to do it. So, if there's any kind of evidence that you could give me or examples, I'll definitely solve it out and I'll listen to you. I didn't get offended by it because, it's his opinion. And it was interesting. While we were talking about this, as I was saying, it's your opinion, it doesn't really matter to me, but I'll try to fix it. The teacher said, "Hey, Connor, stop talking. Uh, you know, that kid right next to you, he's not doing so good in here." By the way, I had a 96 in the class, so this is kind of where the intelligence gets in. He has in front of all the students, he's kind of struggling in here, so you need to stop talking to him right now. You're causing a huge disruption. So first of all, I just want to point out here, whenever he said I was causing a huge disruption, he didn't necessarily mean the other kid was causing a disruption in our conversation. It was just me, singularly. And also, I am responsible for his poor grades, not because he didn't study or not because maybe I'm just a little bit smarter at trig than he is, which is fine, and that's not me being arrogant, that's just facts. I have a 96 in the class, I know the material, but yet the teacher really doesn't like me for this reason. Whenever he said that, he said, "Would you admit that you're causing a huge disruption in this class?" I said, "Well, look, what I've just said to you is that I know that maybe I was disrupting, and I'm sorry for that. But the fact of the matter is that he was talking to me, and we were having a discussion, so it wasn't just solely me." And basically, what he said was, why aren't you giving me a direct answer? It's almost like you have a disability. That's what he said in front of all the students. And I said, "Well, look, I gave you an affirmative response to what you were saying, and that's implied. That's an implied yes. Listen, it's multiple choice. It's yes or no." This is what he says to me. I said, "Look, that's fine. I'll admit it. It's taken care of." But yet he still wanted to keep this going. You know why? Because I wouldn't submit to his domineering. I wouldn't submit to his authority. I wasn't intimidated by this guy. I self-validate. And, it was interesting because usually the bad kids are the ones who get singled out. But because the bad kid was more of a sheep and submitted and was fine and like let him have his power, and because I didn't do that, I'm the one who he doesn't like and I'm the one who he blames, and I'm kind of his punching bag. Submit to me. No, but I'm not going to do it. And that's what's wrong with public school. They don't like to teach individuals. They just want little people, stamp, 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 just little sheep, little individuals. They don't want any original thinkers, and they don't embrace original thinkers because, like I said, I'm doing everything I can do in that class, and I'm doing actually pretty good. And this teacher obviously doesn't like me for something, and that's the only thing I could think of. So this is what we need to do to solve this problem with public school. What we need to do is we need to privatize public school, okay? Because the public school model is business times force equals income. In the private sector, it is business times quality equals income. So, this guy basically accused me of having some type of intellectual or behavioral disability in front of 30 kids. I mean, that's not necessarily a good thing to do. So if this was the private sector, I'd be like, "Well, why is this guy treating me like this? Sorry, I'm pulling out of your class. You're losing a little bit of money." But instead, they're guaranteed an income through forced taxation, so there's no accountability. So that's pretty much why public school doesn't embrace individuals, and that's why a lot of government organizations, these collectivist organizations, are like this, because you're forced to pay the public school tax. You're forced to do this, you're forced to do that, you're forced to go to school. And by the way, attendance in American public schools, where I go, is mandatory. So if they just weeded out all the kids who said, "Yeah, you don't want to come into school today? Fine, we have less overhead." Just like a business. Voluntarism. Voluntarism is beautiful, and that's what we need. Because, you know what? If we had voluntarism, and this guy didn't have such a high job security, and if my satisfaction actually mattered to him, this shit wouldn't have happened. But it did.